Section 3-6 and Article 4, Section 6-5.5 of the Hawaii County Charter 2012 edition relating to the appointment of legal counsel in the legislative branch and the authorization of special counsel. Authorizes the council to employ special counsel and council staff attorneys without limitation. Reference Communication 878, introduced by Ms. Ford.
Councilmember Ford.
Move to approve Bill 255. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember, it was moved by Councilmember Ford and seconded by Councilmember Willie. Councilmember Ford.
Thank you. This is a charter amendment that starts out, let me start at the back of the page 3, the special counsel. Been trying to change this for several years. There's a lot of ambiguous language in this particular section, 6-5.5, special counsel. Although we've had Corporation Counsel in front of us several times and said, what is the definition of special? Never had it. What is the definition of a real necessity? Never got it. And so that language, if nothing else, that language needs to be cleaned up. And I've changed it by striking the word special and striking the phrase presenting a real necessity for such, and replace that with this wording. The council may, by 2/3 vote of its entire membership, authorize the employment of special counsel for any matter that the council without limitation determines may require such employment. Any such authorization shall specify the compensation, if any, to be paid for said services. This strengthens the role of the county council in the county of Hawaii by saying it's our determination whether or not to hire a special counsel. It's not the Corporation Counsel's decision to say, oh, that's not special enough, or that's not a real necessity. The council is the one empowered to make that decision whether or not we're going to hire a special counsel. So no matter what else is on this bill, we need to clean up this language and empower ourselves to do what we should always have been allowed to do, which is to make the decision about special counsel without limitation. Let me go back now to, I'm not going to go through the definitions, you can read those for yourself. The council has always had the right to have what we call a legal specialist. That doesn't necessarily have to be an attorney, but in my opinion, it should be. But I will explain to this council what we've gone through in the past. We have a legal specialist, we pay them good salary, we say research this issue. They do fabulous research and they hand it to us, and we write a bill based on the research that was done for us. The Corporation Counsel comes in and says the word shall is discretionary. And the legal specialist rolls over and says, okay, I agree with the Corporation Counsel, because the Corporation Counsel is the chief counsel of the county. So we have a legal specialist that rolls over. We have a Corporation Counsel giving us a wrong definition, legal definition, and we're stuck. This amendment to the charter says that we can hire an attorney. They can give us legal counsel without limitation. That means they do not necessarily have to agree with Corporation Counsel. Probably 99 times out of 100, they are going to agree with the Corporation Counsel, because we usually get correct information and legal opinions from Corporation Counsel. But in the event that we don't get that correct information, our own attorney, like Honolulu, has 5 attorneys that report to the council. 5. They don't go to Corporation Counsel, they use their own attorneys when they choose to do so. And those attorneys also help them draft legislation. So, We, the County of Hawaii's council, should have the right to employ our own attorneys. The only time that our legislative attorneys would ever wind up in a court is if they have to represent the council against the administration. For instance, the administration says we're going to do X, and we say, no, you're going to do Y. We are the policymakers for the county, but, that does go by the wayside sometimes. In that case, there would be a conflict of interest. We had this last term. I'm not going to go into the details, but we had it last term where the Corporation Counsel came before us and said, I have a conflict of interest, but wouldn't remove himself from the situation. This would allow us to have our own attorney to give us counsel, even if it's in opposition to the Corporation Counsel. And should we have a conflict with the administration, they could represent us in court only if 6 council members vote to make them a special counsel. Same rules apply. But this time, they're representing us, the council, if we are in some type of a conflict with the administration. In the past, we've tried to do this, and we've never been able to get it through. I suspect, never mind, I won't even tell you what I suspect. We need to do this. This bill, if it passes to change the charter, one, would have to be voted on by the public, and secondly, it would not take effect until after the general election in 2014. And part of the reason for that is that we have, I'm sorry?
She said 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
We have to adjust the budget if we have to pay that person, that position more money. I'll yield.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kern?
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I please call up Kathy Garson? Please identify yourself.
Catherine Garson, Assistant Corporation Counsel. I'm feeling very popular today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. The way that I understand that if we feel that we need special counsel, we can put forward that process in which we need to do, and we can vote on that and hire special counsel. Is that correct?
Yes, the authority exists in the charter, and it says by 2/3 vote, you can authorize the employment of special counsel for any special matter presenting a real necessity for such employment.
And if we deem that there's a special matter, you or our chief corporation counsel, you can't tell us otherwise, correct?
I can't. We can give you your opinion, but we can give you our opinion, but it's written that way so that this discretion is with you. We can say, we really don't think that there's a real necessity here. Usually we'll come and ask you when we do have a conflict. It's an area that we don't have particular expertise in. Those are two of the primary times when we come and ask for it. But that doesn't prevent you also from doing it. Now, the fact that you haven't, I think, is probably more of a reflection of you don't have your 2/3 vote. Because two-thirds of you could think that it's a special matter presenting a real necessity. Whether or not we agree with you,
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter,
attorney.
right?
In the end, yes.
Right. So yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is you can come give us your opinion, but if we feel as a council this is a special matter, and as a 2/3 votes, we vote on that. We can do that.
And
it's
you make your record clear as to what it is.
Okay. And if we were to do that, to hire special counsel, they don't need to confer with you guys and consult with you guys unless it's on a needed legal basis, right? You guys, it's not like you guys are the boss of them in any way, right? They're independent special counsel for us as a Is that correct?
They're independent, but this comes out of our budget. So we do discuss with them a lot. In fact, the times that, we do discuss with them the case, primarily, especially in the case where we're asking you because we don't have the expertise, and we do work closely with our special counsel. So it would be a different situation if it was a conflict. Then there's that degree of separation between us and them. But that isn't always the case. We do hire them and work with them.
Right, which makes sense too. To work with them. But if there was a circumstance that said that there was a conflict, then that would be known, and they would work more independently, and you folks would work more independently if that was as a need, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. See, I just, for some reason, I don't like this idea because it comes back to pitting the legislative branch against the administrative branch. This seems to be the common theme. We can hire a legal specialist. We can do that right now. It's always been an option to help us with our legislation from a legal perspective. But again, we also have Corporation Counsel, and you guys have been great on working with us. I think we need to be able to work together from an administrative and a legislative side and make that work. And I don't know, I just like the way that it actually is set up right now. To me, the feeling has always been that Corporation Counsel has been just that of the law office for the county. If we need them on the legislative side, you guys help us. If the administrative side needs, you help them. And we try to work together. So I can't get comfortable with this yet. It seems like because especially with like section on the D area on page 2, we'd be basically hiring a legislative specialist that would then become our personal attorney if we seemed fit. We would have somebody on staff that then we could turn and vote for them, and then they would be our special attorney. I don't think we should do that. If we're going to go that, then the legal side should have our group of attorneys, and the administrative side should have their group of attorneys, and we can battle, and we can get nothing done, because that's all we'll do, is we're going to battle back and forth and battle back and forth. Being that we already, to me, it's just we already have the ability to hire special counsel. I don't see why we need it. So I'll yield with that and look forward to any other feedback.
Before I get back to Councilmember Ford, Councilmember Whitley? Okay.
She wants to respond.
Councilmember Ford?
The only time there would be a battle is if our legislative attorney represented us as special counsel on a matter where we were in conflict with the administration. There's no battle in Honolulu. They have 5 attorneys, and they act as the attorney for the council. And the only time they go to court, in fact, it's one time that I know of, they went to court where they had a conflict with the administration, and they won. Because the administration said, you can't do that. And they said, yes, we can. They hired a special attorney, went to court, and won their case. There doesn't need to be a battle, but many times, well, maybe not this council, but many times previous councils have heard that you can't serve 2 masters. You can't be the Corporation Counsel and represent the administration against the legislative branch, and that has happened many times in the past. It happens. You can't pretend it doesn't happen. It does. Last term, we had Corporation Counsel sitting here and saying, I'm in conflict and all 17 of my attorneys are in conflict. Wouldn't remove himself. And counsel, worse than that, continued to give legal counsel to the council and said, you can't hire an attorney. Don't listen to other attorneys other than me, but I'm conflicted. So these things happen. The way you prevent them from happening in the future, which is what we're trying to do, is set this up for the future, is to clean up the language in Section 6-5 and allow us, the council, to hire an attorney to help us. I don't know how long it takes some of you guys to get legislation and information from Corporation Counsel, but my experience has been, in some cases, not all, it takes weeks and sometimes months. So perhaps I'm the only person that gets treated that way. Could be because I'm on a minority basis. I don't know. But we need to stop this. We need to function like Honolulu functions. And that means we need to have our own attorney.
Councilmember Kern?
Just to respond, I think we already have that. We do. If we needed that, if there was a conflict against, saying "oh my God" and "oh my God" isn't necessarily appropriate. We're just disagreeing. It's fine. It already exists. If there was something like Oahu where we were against the administration or there was a conflict, we have that ability to hire a special counsel. We already have that ability. Just because they were up there last time telling you not to do it, you probably didn't have a 2/3 vote to get it done.
We never voted.
Then I wouldn't
Order. You're making suppositions.
apologize. I wouldn't, if you didn't vote on it, if that wasn't the deal, why'd you listen to them? If you're a council person, vote on it. So my point is, we already have this. We can do this. Thank you.
Councilmember Willie, and then I'll go to Councilmember Yoff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that both of you have good points. I mean, they're just, how do we balance out these issues? When I brought this issue up, or a similar one, I think that where we came down to is, well, we'll hire a legal specialist, and then somehow I wasn't forceful enough with my chair, and that sort of didn't quite happen. And there are financial concerns, and there are concerns, how do we work together? And I wondered, maybe the next time we should change the deputy clerk position to preferably have a legal background. There are plenty of times I would like to, have somebody to ask. I've also asked Lincoln Ashita questions, and he said, I don't want to get in the middle of it. Well, that didn't help me much. Or where I had a question about how, something's being handled. So I do feel it would be great to have someone. I'm not sure that we need to do it in this way. And to me, next time when we have an opening for deputy clerk, I would like to encourage that position perhaps be someone with a legal background, so we'd have someone that we can go to. I believe the legal specialist position is now not funded in the upcoming budget, so that gets our chair out of, we're not going to have to worry about that. But let me just say, I have been frustrated at times. Things have happened where I didn't have someone. Now, if Kathy were going to continue to be our counsel indefinitely, then there's no question I would find this unnecessary, but we'll see who comes up. Anyway, so I think there are other ways we could do it if we decide not to go in this direction, but just so you know, I have been frustrated and would have loved to have had a little extra someone right here dedicated to us. So thank you. I yield.
Councilmember Yoff?
Thank you. So right now, the council has the ability, if we were to fund the position, to hire a legal specialist that could be an attorney devoted to the county council, and we would have someone directly to turn to review legislation or to ask questions that wouldn't be so busy with just regular work, as Corporation Counsel office often has other priorities to deal with. So I think that's a good idea. I think that when we did have a legal specialist, maybe there was more of a need for that position to be filled at that time because we were undergoing a Charter Commission 10-year review. But I think having at some point that position filled would probably be good for the council. And we can do that right now. That's available to us. So the other part of it is being able to hire special counsel, which we also can do with the 2/3 vote of the majority. But could you explain to us what it means without limitations? Because I think that's something Ms. Ford referred to, but I don't really know. and what Ms. Ford is saying without limitations.
Yeah, I think she was just making the distinction between the way it's written now, when it has to be, the way it's written now, there's a real necessity. And I think that without limitation is just taking the place of the real necessity. And the same thing did happen with Honolulu's charter, where they went from, I hope I didn't get this backwards, but I thought that they went from having the real necessity to not having the real necessity. So her without limitation is just a reference to taking out that you can only hire when there's a necessity. You can hire whenever you want. That doesn't mean that you don't follow procurement rules. That doesn't mean, I'm sure that's not what she meant. I mean, you have to follow those rules anyway, but just, for any reason whatsoever, you can hire the special counsel. But she can actually, she wrote it so she can answer that question.
And then the other thing I wanted to see if you could answer, so the attorneys that are assigned to, say, city and county, and I think maybe Maui has an office of special attorneys to their council, do you know if they also represent the legislative branch in court, or does that still fall back to the Corporation Counsel of the county?
Actually, it's the language that Ms. Ford, part of the language that Ms. Ford has in her amendment is pretty much directly what comes from the city and county's charter too. So this provision about the council may authorize, employ, hire attorneys within the legislative branch to represent in court litigation. I looked up Honolulu's charter, and that's actually, I'm pretty sure it's verbatim, if she took it verbatim from the Honolulu's charter, that portion of it. It does differ in other portions of city and county's charter. So that part is the same, but they have another section in Honolulu that has their authorization for the employment of special counsel, basically for any reason under the council section, not under the Corporation Counsel section. That doesn't, was that clear as mud?
I think I understand.
This is what she has about authorizing and employing higher special counsels to represent it in court litigation. That little section, I think, is almost verbatim what's in the Honolulu charter, the city and county's charter. But other portions of what they have in their charter are different from what is in that.
Well, then, do you know of any situation where their two attorneys had to go head-to-head in court?
There is one case, and I forgot the name of it.
So
there's one reported case.
This could be an expensive change, and it seems like if we have one time out of years that there could be a cause or a need for this. It seems we can use the abilities that we have now. And I think it would only be in a real necessity that you would really need to hire a special counsel. So I don't know whether we need to take that language out and change it to without limitations. But the other part of it is we maybe should just explore hiring our own legal specialist and see how that works for the council before we take this step to changing the charter.
And I haven't spoken with anyone from city and county recently, but when this did come up before, if I recall correctly, their council services, they